and it wasn't that different from the real thing. It was like cringeworthy, like cringy jokes and very weird interactions. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Hopefully in the future we get better. Um, we get better. At least something that comes from it where I can say, okay, this is what Biden was talking about. This is what Trump was talking about. But I think,
I feel you. But yeah, I do wanna, what's it called? Make sure we get to watch it. So, and I accidentally went live anyway.
nah, it's good. We're live. Let's do it.
What's up? What's up, everybody? It's the Black Quarantine.
At
Uh,
quarantine.
our book of the month right now is a discourse on colonialism. Um, right now, we're going to talk about the first two chapters, uh, or sections, section 1 and 2. Uh, you have anything that stood out to you about the book?
Yeah, man, these first two sections, I thought they were pretty strong, although the grammar is a little weird because it's translated from French to English. I would say, man, the strong theme that I see here is there's no such thing as colonialization and a civilization. Those two things don't coincide. Once a group of people have been colonized, it is no longer a place for civilians. And I look at the United States, and I saw so many different parallels between Hitler and all these other, you know, colonizers, people that were really pushing those agendas. And I don't know, man. I see a strong parallel, and I really like that theme that colonization and civilization. There is no, there is no. There's a quote I highlighted: between colonization and civilization, there is an infinite distance. Distance. So that means like those two never parallel. Like those things are just so far apart from each other, but yet we're calling our society civil when it's obvious that we've colonized so many different, especially Europeans, and it's come straight from the root.
Yeah, it's. I thought I thought it was really interesting how it's funny how like he kind of flipped it on its head about like the colonialists, like the colonizers. They come in and they come into these civilizations and you're like, oh, you're a barbarian, you're a savage and whatnot. Like they make all these like determinations, but then like now I don't know how to pronounce his name. Cesar. Do you know how to say it?
Cesar. Yeah, I miss Cesar.
Cesar. Okay. Um, but yeah, like they come in and say, you're a savage, you're brutal, blah 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 blah. But then Cesar comes in and says, but you're the one enacting this violence and doing all this savagery, doing all this brutalization. Uh, it's funny because he sees like I think he kind of links how the violence that that like Europeans enact on these other countries is eventually going to come back and lead to Europe's own ruin.
Right.
That was really interesting. And then he ties that in back with like Hitler because Hitler he went and he had these like notions of, oh, we're superior, y'all are inferior, and he basically says like that comes from colonialism, where you're saying that one group of people are superior over another group of people, and you see how that has come back to Europeans, and now you got Germans doing it to Jewish people, which was interesting.
Yeah, it's. I think they talked about the where did colonialism start at? Like, right, it started from Europe, right? And these colonizers went to so many different countries. They talk about what happened to the people in Algeria, the people in India, the people in Africa. All those have heavy influences of European colonialism.
Right.
And when you tie it back to what is happening today, I can't say that I don't see the reflections of it and even the Black Lives Matter movement, you see it. how one race is superior, hypocritically claiming to be superior
Mm-hmm.
without recognizing another another person. Why? Because they felt like there's like an inferiority complex. But then there's a part of it. I think I like this perspective because they don't make it seem so biased. Like the colonizer is wrong, wrong, wrong. Yes, obviously colonialism is wrong, but they also talk about like the role you have in it too. Like they're saying like the Negro, if the Negro stops believing it's a superior race, and if it stops believing that it's a chosen race, then it then loses that idea of being chosen. So it's like also keep in mind that there's
You said
empowerment.
the Negro?
Yeah, it said let me see if I can find I had highlighted that. Okay, it says, yeah, this was a quote. It says, when a superior race ceases to believe itself a chosen race, it actually ceases to be a chosen race. So so if you stop believing that you are a chosen race or superior race, then you no longer become that, and you become subject under this other race that think it's better than you. So I think it's important for us not to continue to believe that we are under the thumb of someone else because of their thought process. Because it's really just hypocrisy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just a big load of hypocrisy for somebody to think that, oh, we're better than you because of what? Because you came in and you told me I'm a savage. You told me my belief system is wrong. And it makes you
Yeah.
kind of think of all those things because these people had culture, they had their own belief system, they had all this, and then this
Their own
group of people
system
come in,
of government, their own economy. That
everything, everything, and it
and
makes you think. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, it blows me how where do you get the validation to come in and say, oh, you're the savages because you don't do things like how we think you should do it. And so therefore be based on whatever subjective notion or sign from God or whatever, we have the right to dominate you, and you should be thankful um, that you know we're civilizing you basically.
Which, well, because and it's just a lack of respect for other cultures, and I think that's always been a complex here in the United States. And I know this is talking mostly about Europe, but let's think about it. The bourgeois of Europe looked at other people in other countries as savages because they
Mm-hmm.
weren't living up to their standard. That's like
Right.
me telling, that's like me shopping at Tory Burch, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and that's all I wear. That's all I have, right? And because this person decided to wear clothes from Old Navy, this person went to Gap, this person went to Dillard's. I look at them like, bro, look at this man. Oh my God, let me teach him how to live because obviously, oh my God,
You don't know what he's doing.
oh my God, does he even deserve to live? No, let me just go ahead and chain him up and teach him how to live a better life. Let me
Let
teach
me
him how
go
to
ahead
be
and buy him Louis Vuitton, chain
right.
him up, and
But
I'll give him my old Louis Vuitton or something crazy.
right, but if you think about it, that's kind of like what's happening in today's society. We're trying to resemble the colonizer. Even like sometimes I think about it because working in corporate America, like even how I dress, right? I'm like, black people don't dress like this. This is
Yeah,
not our this is not our attire. Dress
we
shirt, dress shirt tucked in to the pants. No,
right,
that's a European way of dressing.
and we got to assimilate into that in order to survive. We got to change the way we talk. Uh,
Right.
make sure our hair isn't offensive or in the way or whatever. Uh, all these little things in order to assimilate basically into a because we've been colonized or whatever.
Right. And it seems like everything that belongs to us, they find a way to capitalize on it. And I liked how the book really touched on capitalism, how capitalism doesn't really promote civilization. Capitalism promotes someone taking advantage of a multitude, you
Yes.
know, and that's what's happening. Because I don't know. You listen to the new Big Sean album?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not the biggest Big Sean fan.
Hey man, listen up. Neither am I.
Okay, all
Neither
right.
am I. I am not a big Sean. I'm not a big Sean. I'm not a fan of Big Sean. Like really, like I haven't listened to any of his stuff. Until, like I've never been a big fan because I thought his music was just too. It's like kid rap, you know.
Okay, yeah, like pop. Yeah, it's too
It's
poppy. Yeah,
so pop. It's like
yeah.
it's like in between Justin Bieber and Drake. You know,
Man,
it's
I'm
like
so
what?
glad we're on the same page. Like I be calling Big Sean Mid Sean,
What do you call him?
Mid Sean.
Mid Sean. Yo, dang. Nah, but it's true though. I've always felt that way about him. But this album, he actually came with it. I'm
Okay.
like, and I'm gonna give him his credit. But there's a song called "Human Nature" with him and Lil Wayne, and in the beginning and the end, there's two voiceovers that talk about how our music, like something that's so deep within us, right? Because they even talked about it in the book how we carried our African music to, wherever we went, we carried music with us. Wherever there's music, there's black influence there, like the drums, the percussion, you know, that
Mm,
that thing that
yeah,
gets you bopping.
yeah.
The interesting thing about that is the voiceover talked about how we give it away so freely, right? The white the white man or the colonizer has found a way to capitalize off of our music. We give it for almost nothing. And but it's something that has such a strong influence. Now imagine what do colonized do? They go from place to place and they take their finest. They take their best. You know, they get the jewels. They get they get the jewels from Africa. They get the hard laborers from Asia. They go from different nations, picking different elements of their culture and capitalizing on it. And when you get a chance, man, I know it's a long album too. It's like 20 some odd songs, but give it a chance, man.
I'll check it out for sure.
I
Maybe in
mean,
one
even
day.
if you just ride in the car.
Yeah, I'll definitely give it a chance. And
Yeah,
I'll, but no,
I'm not
that's
big on Big Sean either, bro.
yeah. He's hit or miss a lot of times, but yeah, we'll see. Um, but no, I think that's really interesting. Like you said, like our culture like has basically been like, and not even only ours, but like various other cultures throughout the world have been destroyed because of colonialism. Um, and people make all these changes in order to like assimilate into these workplaces or societies, even though that's something they would never do normally. It's just they're just assimilating to like this European frame of how you should dress or how you should act. And like I feel like everything is basically like a form of assimilation, like professionalism within the workplace, like like the way you speak to other people within the workplace or write an email, like that's all um, like that all has to do with like colonialism. And I liked how you mentioned that one of the only things that we have is like our music because that's something, and like our music because that's something like we can communicate, with our voice and with ordinary objects, and that's something that we've just passed down uh, generations after generations just through word of mouth. Um, and I think that's dope that we still have that.
Yeah, and we have certain avenues where they just can't touch, but are we always we're not always fully capitalizing from music per se.
Exactly.
Um, and even in sports, in the world of sports as well, things that we dominate, but
Not for that either.
we can't even fully capitalize on it. But like you touched on the point though, that really hits home for me is just what being professional means. And it's pretty much, I don't know, it's It's trying to control someone, making them something they're not. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I've seen it too many times. I've been through it myself. Like your tone has to change. Yeah, depending on your occupation, there is a way you have to present yourself, but is that who you truly are? You seen that movie, Sorry to Bother You?
Yeah, yeah, the white voice,
White voice? Man, I was
bro.
like,
But that's a thing for real.
that's a thing, bro. Like you go to work and sometimes you're almost exhausted because you've had to put on this mask all
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been wearing masks before COVID, you know?
Facts.
You
Facts.
know, so you have to pretend to be this person depending on your accent, depending on the twang in your voice, depending on how you speak, a white person will be intimidated or will not be intimidated by you. And it's terrible.
No, yeah, it's like it's magnified if you're black too. You know, like even like white people, like they gotta do professionalism, but like we really gotta do professionalism because you raise your voice a certain way, and it's all of a sudden, why are you getting so angry, or or you're being intimidating, or it it could be anything. Um, I know, and it's funny because like I know I've heard like of a lot of like black men like in the workplace basically kind of gotta like I guess like mitigate themselves. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean, like kind of like lessen themselves because they don't want to seem intimidating to these white people. You know, they don't want to stand out, or they want to seem more like Chad or Brad, and just not be something that gets a negative reaction out of people within the workplace. I've done it myself, though. I told myself I'm
Yeah.
not doing it anymore.
Hey, as you were saying that, I'm like, yeah, I don't did that a few times myself.
Yeah, man. No, but like, I get it. I get it. I think there's a way to balance it. But yeah, no, I get it for sure.
It's the world we live in, man. It's the world we live in. Well, it's the Western society we live in because on the other side, we wouldn't have to pretty much hide ourselves to that extent, or disguise ourselves as something that we aren't just to succeed. That seems to me that's not only are you deceiving everyone else, but you're deceiving yourself, and that probably hurts more than anything else. It's just, man, I know I'm not being my genuine best self, but this is the self I need to be in order to make it in what a capitalist society and
Yeah,
a society where lives aren't valued, where even this work I'm doing today, tomorrow may not be appreciated. It's like, what I'm really sacrificing a lot here to be recognized by people that that don't even respect me really.
right.
You
And
know?
another thing I wanted to touch on was like I guess these ideas of like how colonialism has affected like these other countries. So like you could probably speak on like Haiti, but I've been to Jamaica a couple times, and there's like a very stark contrast between how um, the people in the like the tourism areas kind of act, like the natives in the tourism areas kind of act. So like Montego Bay or whatever, and then how the natives in the the country act, because the natives in like the touristy areas, they've like kind of adopted this the ideas of like Western professionalism a little bit, very polite. They know what they gotta do because I'm sure they get like a lot of white customers or whatever, white tourists who come through, and capital money talks. Um, but then like you go into the country and it's just so different, like from like the driving to uh, going into a local shop or whatever. Like there aren't the ideas of like professionalism or like how you speak to other people are just so different from how it is in the States and other Western countries. And I think that's so interesting.
I think so. Jamaica was colonized by what, the English, correct?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some similarities. I have never been to Jamaica actually. but I've been to Haiti, Bahamas, Dominican Republic several times, and those are all nations that have been colonized. And what I've seen the most, just very similar to what you're saying, is like depending on what side of the depending on what side of the country you're in, or depending on the tourist areas or places that are how we call it the bourgeois. That's how
Hmm.
you say it in French. The bourgeoisie, the
Hmm.
bougie. Those you can tell who's working in those areas. You can tell who's influenced by those people just based on how they talk, even just in the street. They come across you a certain kind of way, even the way they dress. And I'm like, man, it don't even happen only in the States. It's happened anywhere where there's been an influence um, by another nationality.
Yeah, yeah,
But only a nationality that's, here's the thing, the perception has to be that they are superior. You see? The
right.
only reason why you're talking that way, the only reason you're acting that way is because you believe by acting that way, you are now up to their standard and that you are superior as well. But you are not. Like what Jay-Z say? Still nigga. What you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Stop. What are you doing?
Like,
You know?
yeah, yeah, I know the whole thing. Yeah,
Um,
no, that's facts. Yeah, and but it's weird because how do you? Yeah, you'll never be that, but at the same time, how do you navigate around that? Because yeah, maybe you'll never meet up to the standards, but it could still kind of help you in life, kind of in a certain sort of way, assimilating. Um, I mean, for some people, it does. You, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, it's not a good thing to do, but I get why people would, be like, I'm gonna adhere to these standards because people do it to survive, really.
I think I don't think it's wrong some of the things that we adopt from it, right? Like being punctual, being detail oriented. Like there's certain things from it that you can't take away. You can't knock it, right? These are great things.
Hmm.
But I think it's the toxic culture behind it, right? The fact that if I'm being myself as a black man, I'm seen as too aggressive. I'm seen as, your grammar is incorrect. But you got the point, didn't you? I don't have to send these long-winded emails. I sent you some bullet points, and you're saying that I need to be more grammatically what? Get out of here.
That's
Like there's just
another thing. Grammar, how you speak, like all these arbitrary notions of the correct way to speak, which
right,
are just
right,
rooting. Yeah.
and and that's why black people have to have a white voice, right? Because we have to speak like the colonizer. And it's interesting, and I'm going back to Haitian history when there was when the Africans and the slaves at the time that revolted wanted to come against the system, come against the oppressor, come against the French colonies. You know what they did? They made up their own language
Hmm.
because they believed they were the superior race. Now that is something that I feel like we should tap into. It's like, okay, y'all got y'all little white language, y'all got y'all little white voice thing going over there, but listen to what we got over here. And
Yeah.
that in turn became more powerful than their language, and we gained our independence from them. So I think that's something we have to think about is, yo, we can kind of relinquish that language. We can relinquish that culture if we come up with something of our own. And that's the difference. Are we willing to do what it takes to have our own? Um,
I mean,
because
I feel like we do kind of. I mean, probably not to that extent, but like we have AAVE, um, like and like when I'm on Twitter, like I see plenty of black people like if they see white people trying to speak in like AAVE, they'll get on them because you're not speaking it right. You shouldn't be talking like that. Stuff like that. I see it on Twitter all the time, but like obviously it's not at the same level as what you're talking about. Um, I don't know. Like I feel like that's definitely a component as far as rejecting these like Western ideals for sure. The
yeah,
language.
some of them are worthwhile, and others are just straight garbage, man. There's an excerpt from the book that I would want to get your thoughts on. It says, this is on page 42. It says, between colonizer and colonized, there is room only for forced labor, intimidation, as you mentioned earlier, pressure, the police, taxation, theft, rape, compulsory crops, contempt, mistrust, arrogance, self complacency, swinnishness, brainless elites, and degraded masses. That is between colonizer and colonized. There's only room for those particular elements that we just listed. What do you think about that?
Um, I mean, I I think it's facts. Like I know one of the critiques, since I was saying in the book, and I left my book at work, so I don't even have it on me right now. I'm stupid. Um, but
Nah, you're not.
one of the critiques, since I was saying, was like people would say that he's like against multiculturalism, like he's against like the mixing of cultures and the exchanging of
Right,
culture,
right.
and um, he was like, no, he's not against that, but the way colonialism works is that you get everything that you just said, and you also get like the kind of basically like the bleaching of one culture, and then elements of that culture just go into like the dominant culture and like
Right.
absorbed into that, and it's like it's not a fair exchange at all. And I thought that was interesting. Like is really like you have like this centralized culture, and then all the other subcultures kind of have to suffer through all the things that you just listed.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some really key ones here, like forced labor, intimidation. Like those are things that we're based on our culture. Those are some of the things that we do wouldn't be the things that we do, right? And
Oh,
I feel
say it one more time.
like forced labor and intimidation.
Oh, okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
Like I don't think I don't know, and maybe I haven't thought this one um, thoroughly enough to actually speak on it, but I don't always think that I don't think my purpose was to work in a corporate
Every day.
environment,
Yeah.
like, but because the way the society is set up, the way my chains are hooked up to my arms, right? I feel like that's the only way for me to make a decent living out here. That's what they told me is the right way to live. That's how I get a good house. That's how I get a good credit score. That's how I get a nice car. Like
It's not even that that's what they told you. It's like that's how the system is set up, where you have no choice but to do
right,
that.
right. And to me, that's a way of forced labor because now there's a level of self complacency, right? And it even talks about this. Like you have a self complacent, like you're complacent now because you're settling for what the colonizer tells you your
Hmm.
worth. And I don't know, it just seems a little I don't know, to me that excerpt hits spot on. And even though we talked about like not coming against the mixture of culture, but for one race to dominate everyone means these other cultures have now been subdued to a minimal because this superior race is doing all these things that will never really kind of like we don't know what's good about the Mexican culture. If you went into the Mexican culture without a bias, then you would understand the beauty in that culture. But if you understood it from the American perspective, from the Western civilization perspective, those are the people that do your grass outside. That is all.
Hmm.
And is that fair to their culture? Because when I went to Mexico, I learned so much about their history. I'm like, man, these people like,
Yeah,
why do we give them so much crap? You
yeah.
know?
From like a Western point of view, you're just thinking, oh, I mean, at least they make good tacos and whatnot. You know,
Right,
we'll take that and bring that to America, but you know, everything else it's kind of barbaric. We'll allow y'all to cut our grass though.
right.
That's what you're thinking.
Which is crazy to even say. Like you, when you put it that way, especially when we talk about food, that's where I see Americans. Man, I can't even say Americans like Western Western society. has
Yeah.
really, really taken advantage of other cultures.
Yeah.
You'll go into a Caribbean restaurant. There won't be anybody there from the Caribbean, right?
Right.
There'll be a full bar. They'll tell you they got goat, they got plantains. You're like, man, y'all really got this. Then they come out with the food, and you're like, what is this, man? Why y'all
It's,
playing?
they got Becky in the kitchen making
They
you
got
some curry chicken and rice and peas.
bro, they got a dude whiter than Tom Brady in there making goat, man.
Yeah.
They got and hey, listen, yeah, you got some chefs that can do their thing, you know. But sometimes, man, there's things that are just original to us. You can't
Mhm.
same time
It's
when you go to
if you go into like these like bigger cities, there will be so many restaurants, and there'll be like ethnic restaurants, you know, whether it be like Mexican or Caribbean food, or whatever, and then the owner's like white, and
yeah,
they're basically capitalizing off of another culture's cuisine, and
but that's what we're talking about, colonialism. That's another form of it.
yeah,
That's the modern form. Like if I'm gonna go support a Mexican restaurant, I'm gonna go to a Mexican restaurant that's run by, employed by Mexicans,
hmm,
right?
right,
But instead, this is Bill something who owns this Tex-Mex spot, and everybody raves about the tacos, but really they just stealing. They're just stealing another man's recipe.
yeah, and
And
this is interesting because this is where it's kind of like if we're talking about different forms of colonialism, like cultural appropriation is another
mm,
one, you know, like uh, we can list so many. Like let's say like white girls wearing like the box braids or whatever, and making money off of it, but then like black girls wear it and it's told like it's distracting or at work or whatever. There's so many instances. White rapper like Eminem, he even said himself like um, he was successful because he's white. You know, there's so many instances of that.
well, there's also because what they say, hate is just a great, deep, a very confused version of admiration, right? And those same braids that they look at you and go, "Oh, your hair nappy," blah blah blah. They gonna put it on and they take their Instagram pics and like, "Ooh, look at my new braids."
Yeah,
It's because they love your culture so much. They're calling you a savage while they love everything about you. They love your land. They don't go on vacation in their own country. They want to go on vacation in your country. You know what I mean? So like it's it's because there's a deep, I think it doesn't say that explicitly here in this book, but I think there's an admiration that comes from the colonizer, you know?
yeah. It's strange, like because no, I definitely understand what you're saying because it's like they they hate us so much, and what we do is so uh like subhuman. But then, oh, we like little elements of your culture. We're gonna incorporate it, but we don't like y'all. You know, which is
Yeah,
it's like the whole saying. Everybody want to be black, but nobody want to be black.
right. It's like you want to share in our music, our culture, our food, our even just our slang, but you don't ever want to be where we're at. You don't want to really feel our struggle. You don't want to come to that side of it.
Yeah,
And
and if we do it, it's subhuman and weird. But if you do it, it's quirky or it's exotic or it's cute or whatever. It's like it's only good if a white person does it. If a European does
right, that's the only way it's tolerated. And like you mentioned Eminem, like although Eminem has talent, yeah, cool. But if there's a black man rapping like that,
it, especially
he
how he was in the early 2000s, where he was calling out everybody, talking about raping babies
come
and
on,
women and all this stuff,
come
and
on,
all it did was make him get more famous.
come on, come on. It's like, okay, a black man could never do that, but because a white man is doing it and it sounds similar to us, And you know, I'm not gonna discredit him. He can spit, but he kind of crazy, right? Like, come on,
Yeah,
let's be like, I'm not talking about like, you know, some white kid stuff like "fuck you, mom." Like, what?
yeah,
That's
no,
not part of our culture, bro. Like,
yeah.
you
He
literally
wild.
dissing your mom on a song, bro. The whole world is listening. You tripping? Like, I don't care, bro. My mom don't smack me across the face a couple of times. She don't discipline me. Yeah, we've been in weird situations. She didn't make the greatest decisions in life. I ain't gonna go diss her on the song and the whole world. I'm gonna probably make a song like "Dear Mama," like Pac did.
Yeah,
You feel me?
yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not talking about my girlfriend too. Like what I would do to her or whatever. Like he's wild. All that
Right.
stuff.
But I mean, that's a good point you bring. They get away with a lot more stuff in the name of our culture too,
Hmm.
using using our spirituality against us, using our beliefs against us, using our culture against us.
And it's funny because the white people like they won't mess with it if we're doing it, but then Eminem's doing it and he's saying all this crazy stuff. And he's like, I, I'm pretty sure he's like the best-selling rap artist of all time or something like that.
Yeah, he broke several records.
Yeah, like his appeal is crazy.
Yeah, but then can I say that Eminem was a culture vulture? No, because of his uproots and his upbringing and where he came from. You know, 'cause I know there's a few neighborhoods that I grew up in. It was mostly black kids, but you had that one or two white kid that you like, all right, you one of
Yeah,
us, man.
yeah. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
But you adopt them. But you know what? That goes back to a point saying we're more willing to accept people. We're more accepting. There's a
Hmm.
part of me that I didn't honestly fully agree with, but I saw what they were saying. It said something about that the black man is. Oh man, I gotta go to it because this one kind of pulled a it kind of triggered me a little bit, but then I was like, okay. It said the Negro treat him with kindness and humanity, and all will be as it should. And then it said the idea of a barbaric Negro is a European invention. So I don't know. That just makes it sound kind of flim. It makes it kind of seem kind of soft. But it's
Oh,
true.
so wait, what was your criticism of it?
It wasn't that it was criticism, but it was just like, dang, maybe that is true. Like, you know, like if they come at us, if the colonizer comes at us with some kind of like humility, kindness, someone like, oh hey, like kind of like how your the passive aggressiveness people come at you with, you might just let them slide. You know, you just like, oh you're, you know, but what it's saying is naturally we're not barbaric people. We're not crazy. It's just something that has been portrayed of us as
Hmm.
being crazy person. But then I thought about it. I'm like, man, we are more accepting, I would say, than other cultures. Like we accept anybody. In my
Yeah,
that's in my personal opinion.
yeah. I was thinking about this too. Like, is it that we're accepting, or is it that just white people or whiteness or whatever is exclusive? You know, because um, like
Hmm.
they kind of did the same with like the Native Americans, and I felt like the Native. I mean, I'm not like a history teacher or anything, but from my understanding, like a lot of Native Americans were willing to, kind of show. It's like when the settlers first came in to America, a lot of Native Americans were like willing to show like uh, the what's the names, the Pilgrims, like how to do certain things and like live on their land and whatnot, live off the land and all that stuff. And then eventually, they were killed by white people.
Right.
Like, and like another thing, like the one drop rule, whereas if you have one drop of blackness of black blood in you, then you're black, which kind of goes with your whole we're so inclusive, right? Like you got people who don't even look black, but like they can claim blackness because oh my granddad was half black, and so I got that
Right.
one black. You know what I mean? Like,
We
I,
let everybody in. We let anybody in the door.
but it's not I don't know, again because that one drop rule was created by white people, whereas like it's like they didn't. If you had that one drop of black, it would stain your whiteness forever, and so it's
Right.
like whiteness is exclusive. Like, you know, if you're not pure blood white, then you're not white. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's the ideal of a, like you said, a colonizer or someone that thinks they're superior to you. Where they're like,
Right.
"Whoa, we don't even mix with y'all. Get out of here." And it makes no sense because you come into people's like the book is speaking from a European perspective. But what has Western civilization has been founded on the culture of the Europeans. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we we had nothing to do with Western civilization, but we were brought over here because we were colonized from our home, right? And then here in the United States, you had the Native Americans who were willing to work with you. Like, hey man, come on, let me show you how everything works. Let me show you how to make some corn. Okay, yeah. But then you just totally eliminate these people instead of being part of them. You want to eliminate these people and control them,
Right.
and that
And you thought they
that
were
to me,
savages and all that, and then but you learned from them, and the way they live, but then like you couldn't. It's like you thought you were superior to them, so then you kind of like killed them off and imposed your way of living onto them and your way of government onto them and all your
bro,
European ideals onto them.
man. And when I think about that, I think about Donald J. Trump in today's election, bro. Like we're being forced we're being forced to go into this world order that, man, hey, I didn't really agree to this. I don't really want this, but nah, this is what it's gonna be. And it's like none of this works in our favor, but yet that's the direction we have to go in. Like, oh man, there was a there was a quote in here from Hitler directly. That I'm like, bro, this don't if this don't sound like Trump's whole campaign,
Oh
um, man, hold up, we might get taken down for this one.
God. Dang.
No, 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 no. Because this, I mean, oh, it says we aspire not to equality but to domination. The country of a foreign race must become once again a country of serfs, of agricultural laborers, or industrial workers. It is not a question of eliminating the inequalities among men, but of widening them and making them into a law. Bro, don't that sound like "Make America Great Again"?
Mm, yeah, and it goes back again to like the connection with colonialism. The idea that a group of people are superior over another group, and so you impose your will onto them.
Right. And I think a big part of it is colonialism and capitalism go hand in hand because it's not about valuing people, but valuing something that people bring to you, which is money in this instance, which is
Labor,
capital,
labor.
labor,
Yeah,
and I think that's why we are in the state that we are in today in terms of the Western civilization is because we, it's, this country was founded on, you know, the colonies, right? A group of settlers that emancipated themselves from the Queen and the European rule. I mean, from the
hmm
British rule, and
hmm
came here and just said, "Hey, you know what? The people that are here, um, in order for us to make more money, so that way we can, be a superior nation than the English. We're gonna have to kill these people off. We're gonna have to kill these Native Americans. We're gonna have to take their resources. We're gonna
and
have to."
yeah, and not only that, but like go to Africa and then get black bodies to use as labor for the construction of the country.
Yeah, to do what? Create the South. One of the what was like the South was one of the biggest parts of the economy in the United States at one point. You talking about sugar? You talking about talking about sugar cane, cotton. Like, I mean, this
Hmm.
was running the country at one point in time, and that's why a
Tobacco.
lot of
Yeah.
that's why when we talk about what's those people with the rebel flags? Gosh, I never remember
Confederates.
the Confederates. That's like, oh man, the South should have won. Would have saved our economy. What?
Yeah.
To a point, they do have. I mean, they have a point because yeah, it did really run the economy of the country at one point in time. But at the cost of what though? Treating people as if they were worthless.
Hmm.
And when these
Right.
people fight for their rights, they're like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? You're not equal to us. You're not. It's it goes back to like the origin of the country. And until the country really reconciles their differences and where they went wrong, then it's just going to be an ongoing cycle because that's the foundation of a nation.
It's the literal. It's like it's literally in the blood of this country. Like it's literally like within
It's
like
in
the bones of this country. Like it's literally built on that idea, those ideas of what you just said.
yeah, it's in there. It's in our DNA, man. It's
Mhm.
so you see it across every nation, every civilization. I mean, not civilization, but you just see it. There's one superior race that everyone wants to be like or wants to resemble, and everything else is just an inferior kind of unit that is
Mhm.
used to run this big machine that we are all susceptible to.
You know what's interesting? I think I've heard things of like China's trying to do the same thing in Africa.
Oh my goodness.
You've heard about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
um, China has a lot of hands and a lot of pull in Africa right now.
Yeah.
And it's sad because if Africa was more of a united front, because people forget when people say Africa, they forget that they're saying a name of a continent and not the name of a country.
Bro.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now go ahead, hit that spot. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like people always talk about Africa as if it's like this one country, but like and like just because everybody there is black, like they should be united or whatever. But like people don't understand that like prior to like colonialism, we didn't have like these ideas of like, oh, you're a different race than me, or like different races. Like like prior to colonialism, like Africa had like warring nations where it wasn't like people weren't beefing because of the color of your skin. They were beefing because like they were just separate nations or tribes or whatever going against each other. So it's like it it makes sense why like Africa as the continent isn't so I guess united against like these Western colonizers or Chinese colonizers because like it wasn't built on like that idea of race like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why we don't have like that solidarity. Like there's no it's not like it has a history of like black power or or like the way white supremacy has it.
Well, there is a nationalism. Africans are very proud of wherever they're from. Like if you meet somebody from Ghana, don't mistake
Right,
them for
right.
nothing.
But that's from
Don't
like the nation, not from
right,
like the continent as a whole.
right. So people
Right,
think when you say Africa is, oh yeah, Africans, we're all one, Black Power.
right.
Ah, with an asterisk because the people in Congo may not get along with the people in Sudan, the
Uh-huh.
people in Benin may not get along with the people in Ghana or Nigeria or Ethiopia. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's so much division there. And that's why these dominant nations can just come in, right? Like colonizers come in and
Mhm.
take advantage of your vulnerability. There's no
Right.
unity. Oh,
They can
okay.
soul division. The CIA can come in
Come
and whisper
infiltrate.
in
Come on.
world leaders' ear. So, like, yeah, it's so easy.
So when black people, when we come together, we're very powerful, right? Let's think about the Bobby Seale, Huey P. Newton. But the moment
Mhm.
there's a conflict within, they infiltrate. And then they can do whatever. They can dismantle, they can break apart, they can turn you against your brother, they can turn you against your mama, they can turn you against your sister. And then guess what? Then you have what we have today. A whole bunch of nations divided. We all look alike. We all look alike. It's obvious. It's like, man, I look just like you, bro. But you know
Mhm.
what? You from Congo, and I'm from Morocco, so I can't rock with you. You know what I mean? And it's like then you got the Chinese come in, like you mentioned, because they have a lot of hands in Africa right now, building all
Yeah.
kinds of businesses, all kinds of plants. They even try to come to Haiti with the stuff, with the craziness. Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
because what they offer is development, and
Hmm.
development seems great because it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna help our economy, but no, it does not. It helps one race. Do you
Right.
understand?
Right.
It and the areas where United States is limited in reach, China will take it there, because they're not as loyal to the green dollar as America is. They're not even committed to the yen. They're not even committed to the yen. So, they just want control.
Yeah, I mean, they're thinking like on a grant, like they're thinking like imperialists, like they're thinking like they're trying to be like the new West, like they they want uh they want that domination, they want that power.
I read a lot of Eastern philosophy, and I don't know if you ever read The Art of War. That's something I reference back and forth. But
The Chinese Art of War book,
yeah,
or
but and there's different Eastern philosophies in there by Sun Tzu, Confucius, and it makes sense how they move, man. They move in silence. Like some people know about what's going on in Africa. The fact that you mentioned that, it's like, okay, some people know that the Chinese are involved in Africa, but others don't. Like people don't know that Akon bought those solar panels that he used to start building his city from the Chinese, dealing with the Chinese. Um, Wait, let me see. Daisha said, what did Daisha just say?
she said, I thought they were investing. She's talking about I guess China and Africa. She said I thought they were investing in a shady way, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, they
It
come
is
in.
an investment.
Yeah, what are you saying?
My bad, man. But I was saying it is an investment. But like they're investing like for the future. Like they're trying to take control. They're trying to get power.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's just like you're gonna end up compromising your own culture and your country and the people of your country, your own countrymen, because you're letting somebody from the outside come in and dictate your development and how you're gonna. It just doesn't sound right.
Hmm.
Um, so China used to just be a huge manufacturer for the world. Now they're like, oh, wait, we make everything from the world, so we're just gonna go and just take it over, you know? And yeah, Africa. It's bad what's happening in Africa because Africa has a lot of multi-millionaires, but they're not investing into the country like these other nations are. And
And they're
it's
not like black minded either. Like Akon, he I think he's doing business with like with some Chinese
yep.
manufacturer, building developer, or somebody, and like he I forgot exactly what he's doing, but he's basically like giving them like a lot of land or selling them a lot of land or something for like a lot of money, and it's like, bro, you know how they're gonna take this. Like they're gonna use this, use that land, create infrastructure, and basically just start to take over that area. And you're compromising, the integrity of, uh, your country, basically for money.
Yeah, and let's not. I mean, I don't like to. I want to be critical on Akon, but I also have to remember he's just a musician. He was a musician. He was a
But
recording
he's a
artist
musician
before.
with power.
Power or money?
I fe- at this point, I feel like they're synonyms almost.
Well, yeah, and yes, and yeah, in Western civilization, yes, but I think in a country like Africa, money is only half of it. But then there's like politics. There's people involved. We don't know what favors he had to do. We don't know what favors people had to do him because for Akon to be one day being the feature on a Young Jeezy song to giving solar panels in Africa, like come on, bro. There's a lot of things that happens in between that we don't know about, you know.
That's true.
So we don't. I I don't want to be very critical on him because at the end of the day, Akon was somebody I looked up to because I saw the work that he was doing. In Africa was very similar to the work that I was trying to do in Haiti,
Hmm.
and I'm like, man, but I understand the red tape and the people you have to see along the way. So I'm like, whoo, Akon, I see you doing it, but how'd you do it, man? What'd you
Yeah,
do?
right. That's kind of what I'm worried about. Like what
What
I
did
mean.
you have to
I
compromise?
hear what you're saying. Like he definitely did like great work. Like when I first heard about what he did in Africa, like I was proud. And then I hear about the stuff with China, and I'm like skeptical. But I definitely hear what you're saying. Like there's definitely stuff that happens behind the scenes that we're not entirely
Yeah,
aware of.
that we're not keen to. And Akon's sister does a lot of his campaigning, runs a lot of his run a lot of his PR stuff and just anything that he's doing at all. So I mean, much credit to him for starting an initiative, but we need like 100 more people thinking about black independence, black empowerment the way Akon's thinking about it, and putting your money behind it. But like you said, the big billionaires in Africa, they're not dealing with other Africans. They're dealing with other nations. They're pretty much, it's just like the wealthy slave owners in Africa. They didn't just come and pick us up. Some of us were sold off by our own kind. Now,
Yeah,
let's not forget that the colonizer didn't just come picking us up. They're like, hey, this your boy? Yeah, how much you want for him?
yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like
man.
that's also like that kind of goes back to like the whole. They weren't thinking of, oh, I'm selling another black man. They're thinking, oh, I'm selling like this prisoner of war from this other nation that I was warring with. Like
Right.
it wasn't like a race betrayal. It was kind of like these are the enemy. You know what I mean?
That's my enemy, right? And that's the thing. That's the difference between Africa, the nation, and the Africa, the continent, between African nations. Because I'm looking at you like I captured you, Sundisa, and I will sell you off to these white evil men because you are my enemy. You have caused me pain for so many years,
Yeah,
not realizing that when they put us in that boat, they didn't ask us, "Oh, you Ethiopian?
right.
Oh, y'all black? Y'all
Yeah,
pick cotton? Come
right.
on, come on."
Right. You could have had Cameroonians, Nigerians, Ethiopians all on the same boat. Don't matter. Uh, still nigga. Yeah. Just like that.
Out. But yeah, man, I mean, so far, what do you think about the book?
I think it's really insightful. Like, I really appreciate the most like how he compared it to Hitler. Like how he basically said like this was basically like the preface to what Hitler's doing, and it's basically going to ruin Europe itself, or like Western civilization itself. So like I'm looking forward to reading more because I think it's really insightful.
Yeah, me too. It gives a lot of perspective. It's not biased. It's speaking from how the colonizers from Europe came and influenced so many different countries because you got France, you got Germany, you got England, you got all these European nations that have a heavy influence not only in the Western world but even in the Eastern side. So
Hmm.
definitely gives a lot of perspective, and I'm making a lot of parallels to what I'm seeing today. Like, wow, this thing really permeated through our culture.
Hmm.
So we'll have another discussion next Wednesday around the same time, and then tomorrow we have another discussion.
Yup.
And
It's gonna be
based
at
on
8 p.m. tomorrow. Based on this debate that's gonna happen in about a minute.
yeah,
So
man, these are exciting, bro. These are bigger than boxing matches, bro. These are
we got
bigger
to
than
see
UFC
how it
fights. Yeah, man. This is what I have to look forward to since the NBA finals aren't really that fun anymore to watch.
What you mean? Y'all won the game. You should be proud. And last night's game was competitive.
Bruh, I was heartbroken how we lost that game. What you mean? Oh my God.
Haven't been that close, to be honest.
You said what?
I said it shouldn't even been that close, to be honest.
Bro. This man, Anthony Davis, hit this dagger of a three. I was like,
Man, I was so excited.
man, let me see what they got on
But
PBS.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, man, because I want to go ahead and watch this debate.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm about to turn it on here shortly. Well, we'll see everyone tomorrow. we'll talk about it tomorrow. Hopefully, we can get some people to join to talk about this vice presidential debate. Let's see if it's going to be a good one.
Got one person interested in coming, so I'm gonna reach out to some other people, see if they're trying to come through.
Yeah. I'm gonna just share the link, and I'm gonna try to spread the word.
For sure. But, all right,
But
man.
we're limited to six, right? Six people.
Yes. I don't know if that's 6 including me or me and then plus 6 more people. I think it might just be 6 total, but yeah.
All right, for sure. All right, man. Well, enjoy the debate.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep,
Peace.
for sure. Peace.